Hey guys, Ari here, and we're back again with another video. It's a bricklaying vlog today. We're doing the first part of the fourth lift. This is the first fourth lift on this site we've done. We squared this one round. This was left by another gang from another subby, because there's been multiple subbies on this site. It was left at Silite and we squared it round from below banding course. With all the blockwork up, so this is his fourth lift. This was his first drop. I've had a number of 3-day weeks since I've started this site. This was my fourth week. This is my fourth week on this job. It's the end of my fourth week now. I think it's the end of my fourth week. I'm pretty sure it is. And for every one of them weeks, I've worked 3 days. I think I've worked 3 days. I've worked three and a half days today. I worked 3 days last week, and I worked 4 days the week before, and then I think I worked 3 days my first week. So it's been a mixed bag of days working. It's dropped on holiday season. I always go away on holiday. Just obviously with COVID happening, obviously it's only going to be in England, but I go away into the caravan for a couple of weekends away, long weekends. Like for instance, I'm going away again soon, so I'm gonna have another 3-day week again. But yeah, it's going well. This site, it's going well. In the whole, I'm earning good money. I'm earning at least more than day work rate every day, and I've been arguably squaring up. Basically got at least one bad lift and arguably 2 bad lifts. There's arguably not the best drops. Definitely the creamy band lift wasn't bad at all. I had a good week on my second week actually, and I had a good week on I didn't have a good week on my third week, and this week's been a good week. It's just because I've not been at work. I've not been at work, but you can't earn if you're not there. So it's been a pretty good overall. Been earning more than day work on every occasion, regardless of what I'm doing, whether I'm building the front, in and out, step trays, I'm squaring block work round inside, or I'm doing the reaching courses. Still earning more than £200 a day throughout my time, and it's looking promising. I'm just getting faster. I'm getting up to speed on these houses again. Obviously, today is a special day because we've had 2 days now where we've had a new lad with us. It's someone who contacted me through YouTube, as I said last video, and he's been very, very good. Very impressed with what he's done. The only thing I'd say when it comes to having people working with you, or just having new people working with you, try and limit the amount of factors that can go wrong. And there's one thing I didn't do this week. I didn't knock the gobble up on 2 of the days. On the 3 of the days, in fact. I'm adamant about the gobble being perfect. It's got to be to lay the bricks as fast as we need to. And there's one thing with ready mix, a lot of the time it always needs knocking up. It's never the right consistency, but the knocking up only takes 3 or 4 minutes, and it's perfect for at least half the tub, and then another 3 or 4 minutes, and it's perfect for the whole tub. So for 10 minutes work, which is about the same amount of time that it'd take for you to go and get it from the silo, probably half the time actually, because it only takes you 20 minutes with the time of finding the forklift, etc. You've got a perfect tub of gobbo. And this lad, who was adamant about doing everything, he wanted to do everything. I'll not disclose his name yet because maybe he didn't want to be known on YouTube, but he wasn't bothered about being filmed, so that's all right. But the thing is, I like to do the gobbo, and I'm going to do it from now on. Always going to knock it up. I don't blame anyone for not being able to knock it up correctly. It's an hard thing to do. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of perseverance to knock up ready mix right, but I can do it pretty quick. I'm really strong when it comes to just doing that sort of thing. Obviously powerlifting for years, deadlifting. It's all that's all you're doing when you're knocking up is just deadlifting and turning it over. So that's what I'm going to do in future. If the ready mix isn't quite right, I'll sort it out. I don't mind 5 minutes off the trowel sorting that out instead of 5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes knocking it up on the boards with some water and then splashing all the bricks, because that's always what happens, and then you can knacker your trowel and turning the gobbo over on the boards. So that's my only pet peeve of this week. What I wish I'd have done different. That's the only thing I wish I'd have done different. But other than that, it's been a decent week. We got him on trowel on basically his first day, and then I got him on trowel more on his second day. We were on block work the first day. We had a bit of issues with the block work being high, obviously what I took over from the other lad. I knew it was going to be high, obviously the tyres were leaning, but I managed to grind down. I had him spreading my bed and I was perping the blocks. Realistically, I should have done it the other way around. I should have spread the bed and he should have perked the blocks, because he wasn't very experienced with how to grind on thermals. But it's one of them things. He's getting there. But I'm very impressed. He's easily quick enough to work with me. Easily, he's been come from working with 5 bricklayers and a labourer, so it was sort of the second labourer to a 5 and 2, and he was getting on the trowel a little bit. It's just out of his time. He's 20, so obviously apprenticeship. You get an apprenticeship when you're 16, so 3 years you'd be 20, 19/20. So it's one of them. It's just out of his time. He worked with a small builder. He's not been on the trowel consistently through his apprenticeship. He's done his college work and just been doing bits and bats of groundworks and all sorts, general building course. So he's got the skill to lay bricks, but he just needs a lot of pointers, which I don't mind, because he's doing the odd carrying as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, obviously there's, for instance, I'll use an example. Charlie Collison has his multiple improvers working with him, and he has a set rate for an improver for the day and a set rate, for obviously a hoddy. And obviously an improver, this lad, I'd not class him as an improver in a sense, because he's not laying to a line proficiently. He needs obviously a bit of help and a bit of work, but getting on the trowel as a novice, Charlie will pay him a lesser rate, obviously, because he was having mixed in between one oddie, one getting on the trowel, and it does take some extra work. And I'll show you in this video how much work it takes to just keep an eye on a fresh apprentice, as I should say. But he treats them as an apprentice. They have an apprentice waiting for the day's laying. But for this lad, he's doing above and beyond what I need him to do on the hod. He's getting in front with the gear. He's getting all the gobbo. Obviously, I'm going to knock it up because I'm a stickler for how I want it knocked up. It's got to be right. That's just how I like it. I'd rather do it than someone mess it up. My old man can't get it right. He makes it too wet. This lad can't knock it up good enough. So I've not known anyone who can knock gobbo up well. It just takes extra work that a lot of the time people can't get it right. It's just one of them things. But but this lad, I don't, it's a set rate when you work with me. If you're oddying and you're getting on trowel, that's a bonus for me. If you're getting in front, getting all the gear, you're pointing up, which isn't an issue with these bricks. They take a lot to point. I prefer to point these bricks because you can mess them up. The concrete bricks require a good bit of jointing. The old man, he's a pro at it. He takes his time, bear in mind, but he finds it easy to joint these, and he makes a really neat job. So the days he comes in is going to be his primary job, pointing. We're going to be smashing the work in. He's normally just going to be knocking gear up, maybe loading some bricks, maybe bucketing a bit of gear, a bit of pointing, but it's going to be, if there's a lot to point, he's going to drop off and point. And if this lad decides to stay with me, he has said that this site is a bit far for him, and I understand. Driving over an hour isn't fun. I've done it a lot of years and it's not good. So if he does decide to stay, we'll find out maybe next week or the week after, because I'm on holiday next week, so I don't know if I'll be doing much recording in them 3 days, but we'll find out if he's staying, because I understand I'm not one of these that, you don't, if you got a job close to home, take it. It's fucking, I don't want anyone to drive unnecessarily, but if he does want to stay, I have allowed him to go a little bit earlier to beat the traffic if he's leaving early, because I'm only 15 minutes, and if he's, he's covering his money already easily, and he's only going to get better. So I said, there's nothing wrong with you doing an extra, an hour less than me a day, because I always get there earlier than everyone anyway, and well, normally if I'm not after 8 in it. And then obviously I don't mind people going, I don't mind people going earlier, because I've got to sit and count up. We have got pot prices, but the prices aren't right according to the subby we work for. They're not calculated right, so I always count up now. Obviously I'm counting up, there's no extras that I'm aware of for anything other than obviously cleaning your radons, or you're putting your radon barrier down. I've not booked any extra in for trays, I've not booked any extra in for banding bricks. I'm happy at the moment what I'm earning, so if there is extras, I want, which there probably isn't, other than damp, obviously, other than the, your radon trays, which that is an extra, but I'm not aware that there is any extras, and I've not asked if there is, because I'm happy what we're earning right now. But because the prices don't work out to the measure, I'd rather just book the measure, because I'm better off a lot of the time, all the time. So we'll see when I take over a fresh plot what the prices are and what the measure comes to, and we'll find out if we're actually getting any extra, but I doubt it. There's never been the case. People who say you get extras for damp trays and fucking soldier courses, they're just kidding themselves. It's not a thing. People, subbies hardly ever fucking give you extras. There's never, it's only for them radon barriers I've ever heard that you get extras. Maybe for bedding the wall plate on, maybe for fire socking. Obviously insulating is a price in itself, but we don't do any of that, it's all blown in. But that's a thing that I've come to learn over the years, that you don't get anything for fucking free in this game. So yeah, we'll see when it comes. We'll see if this lad comes again for more than 2 days. Obviously, he started midweek because he'd just lost it. Well, sort of lost his job with the gang he was working with, because they were jacking up and going to a job too far for him to get to. But we'll see. He'll be a good addition to the gang. It requires a little bit of work. As you can see, I've got to alter a few bricks that are on the line. You just got to keep your eye on him. But he's doing well. And to be honest, it gives me a little bit of, I feel I've got someone pulling the weight. My old man, he's helped me out. Can't thank him enough. But when this lad's doing a few, laying a few bricks, it's putting towards covering wages, especially when there's going to be 3 of us when the old man's in. It's something that people don't talk about in the on the YouTubes. You'll have people working for them. They might have an improver, they might have they might have some apprentices, and you don't realise if they're putting some bricks down, they're helping cover their wage, and they're helping cover the oddie's wage. And at the end of the day, if you're as a ganger, like for myself, I'm the leader of the gang, you're putting, you're fucking taking a risk in a sense, having people working with you and agreeing to pay them a set day rate, a set day rate or a set wage per day. You're taking the risk to cover that, and it's nice when people help out and actually pull the weight. It is good to I don't have to worry in that sense with this lad. So we'll see we'll see if he's happy with obviously it's only the first few days. We don't know how it's going to be in a couple of months, if he stays, if he doesn't. But we've got also another oddie starting slash apprentice starting in I call them slash apprentice, they're all oddies really, but I'll give them the opportunity to lay. I don't penalise them by paying them less. They get odd carrier, what I consider a decent odd carrier money, because if they're speeding me up, I'm there having a go at laying, and I don't have to keep looking after them all the time. If I don't have to keep checking, you know, and they are getting in front, that's all that matters to me. So got another lad starting in a couple of weeks. So we should have 2 lads full time. The old man is just going to make a day or 2 appearance if we need a lift bumping out. That's going to be his exclusive job if he can hack it. If he can hack, you know, bumping out these concretes. We'll see. You know, because he's steady away. You know, and I think he'll just be happy for a couple of days' work. Because if we get this main lad on the trowel full time, you know, he can start picking his speed up, and then we'll have my other mate, who I don't disclose his identity in the other videos previous, but he is a long time friend. But I got getting some stick in the comments, which I didn't disclose who he was because, you know, I just wanted to see the reaction. So, you know, leave the comments to yourself. Obviously, you're only seeing a 10-minute clip, obviously, or you're seeing me running in a few course. And you can't pass judgment from a little 10-minute clip. You know, you don't see the full picture, so you've got to really be, you know, I know you bricklayers on YouTube, they're harsh as fuck. Bricklayers in real life are harsh, and you've got to be understandable that in my position, I need good help, and good help is hard to come by. I've took a lot of phone calls, I've took a lot of messages, I've took more phone calls than I can fucking remember. I've spoke to guys on the phone who've promised me the world, and, you know, they just haven't made the effort to, you know, either get transport, either, you know, a lot of them need lifts, and I can't stomach the time to do it. You know, it's a lot of effort, especially if you're having to drive any more than 5 minutes out of your way. I'm feeling a little bit stressed, because that's adding 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to my day, where could be walling, could be with the family, you know, could be at home. So there's just a lot of people who have applied for the you know, for the positions now, because obviously there's going to be a couple of us. It's just a lot of people, obviously, to, you know, that it's just tiring, you know, hearing sort of excuses on the phone, but it's just one of them, you know, this is why I'm so thankful for people who turn up, have a go, because even if they don't like it, you know, at least they give it a week, 2 weeks, put some effort in, and, you know, if people are honest to me and say, you know, I don't really like working, you know, on this site, or I don't really like working, you know, doing this sort of work, you know, at least they've had a go, they've turned up, especially if they're on time. You know, I've had this lad's turn up on time every day, which I asked him to get to, at the time I asked him to get to. And he's turned up on time, which is fucking phenomenal, because obviously me, the After 8 bricklayer, I'm not a good timekeeper, obviously, as the name suggests. After 8, I've used to get to work really late. It was my shtick, as you could say. So, you know, I'm not obsessed with time. You know, I'm not a big time guy. I'm just happy to see people put effort in. Obviously, I'm paying them, so it is one of them things. It's coming out of my wages when I'm paying them, so obviously, you know, I want to see people put effort in, but I'm also thankful for good help, and it's hard on your own. I've done 6 months to a year working solo in the past, and I know how demotivating it is being on your own. So you have that factor, the motivation factor, you know, it forces you to do something when there's someone there, you know, pushing you along. So yeah, there's all sorts of factors, but, you know, yeah, that's my mentality around it, and why it is so hard starting a gang from scratch, and why, you know, a lot of guys don't do this sort of 1 and 2 sort of thing, which I'm doing. Luckily, I've got the old man, obviously, to always stand in, but obviously a lot of guys, this is why you only see 2 and 1s or 2 bricklayers, you know, or single bricklayers. You know, it is a very, you know, it's not as it's not as hard, not as easy to get together, you know, set up what I'm doing, but it's the way you make the most money, and everyone's happy. Because the thing is, with, you know, 2 bricklayers, very rarely you'll find anyone the same speed as you, and you'll never really find anyone on the same wavelength, truly. So, you know, you're always working to someone else's limits. So that's the reason I don't work with another bricklayer, because I have my own strange ways of working and my own strange times I like to work to, my own strange pace. So that's why I like to set the pace of how I want to work. Also, you know, I've carried a lot of bricklayers over the years. I've fucking been walling and walling and walling, you know, making gangs a lot of money and just not seeing the benefit. So that's why I don't work in big gangs, don't work with another bricklayer. I always have to carry the other bricklayer a lot of the time, and it gets to the point where I'm getting pissed off and they're loving it, and it don't work out for me. So obviously over the time I've been doing YouTube, I've really seen the inefficiencies in, you know, bricklayers in general, the gangs, and it only takes you to watch footage of yourself to realise where you're going wrong in a day. And this is why I love watching back the footage while I'm doing this voiceover, seeing, you know, how to improve, little ways to improve every day, you know, little efficiency improvements, little tweaks, you know, you make to your day, and it just all makes everything go a bit smoother. Obviously I don't rely so much on my hand speed or trowel speed, but relaxation and efficiency, and that all speeds you up in its own little way. So there's always something you can learn from filming yourself. So that's one of my reasons why I obviously work on my own. Well, as the main bricklayer in a gang with either a hobby or two hobbies, or now looking like apprentice and hobby switching. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm going to stick to. I'm not going to go any bigger than 3 of us, obviously, no bigger than obviously 2, 1 and 2. Obviously I don't expect people to be long term. Obviously it isn't. Obviously in the self-employed game, other opportunities come up, people want to jack up and do other things, it's understandable, but luckily I've got the old man always as a backup, and having 2 odd carriers, or 2 apprentices / improvers, if you can call them that. I don't know what classifies apprentice and what classifies improver. It's just, it seems a little bit of a buzzword to me, jargon. But you know, if one lad's having a day off, the old man can come in and fill in, or if both of them are having a day off, the old man has to, you know, step up. But it's very rare, you know. Obviously 2 guys will have the day off the same day, and you know, I'm one of these people, if you're not coming in for some reason, whatever reason it is, just give us a text the night before or on the morning, so I can give the old man a ring. Or I've said this before to loads of people, I'm not one of these people who says, oh, you've let me down. You haven't let me down unless unless you say you're coming in at fucking 7:30 and you don't turn up. You know, a lot of guys, as long as you ring on the morning before you're coming in, you know, a good hour before you're meant to be in, you know, you've not let me down there, because, you know, you've told me you can't make it in. It's understandable. You know, I don't understand this letting down sort of thing, or oh, I've been let down. This is why I emphasise 2 labourers or 2, you know, workers instead of 1, because you limit the letdown factor. So that's my mentality behind it all. Anyway, when it comes to covering wages, obviously it's going to be always beneficial having at least 1 on the trowel, 1 loading out in front. This lad's loaded about 3 packs of bricks out. I think he said 3 packs of bricks. He said 3 to me. I don't know. Looks a bit more like 2, but I think it's 3. I think he loaded 3 packs of bricks out, or 2.5 packs, in a couple of hours this morning while I was finishing that block work off from the creamy bang lift. I actually laid 255 blocks that day. That I said I was going to try go for 300. I didn't get to work on time. I got to work at, you know, 7:15, 7:15. Even though I had the gear on the scaffold, I wasn't there quite on time. About 7:30 I got there, so I won't lay until 7:15. And I finished at 4:45 because it was probably the hottest day of the year. So obviously that didn't work out as I was trying to do. I was trying to do the 300 block day. I could have done it if I'd have just had better conditions, wetter conditions, you know, cooler conditions. I got to work about an hour earlier, so I'd have been laying at 7:15, and then, you know, I'd have probably topped the 300 mark that day, if I'd have done that. So that's one thing. Obviously I was walling between windows, You know, the front for a lot of freehand work, so it wasn't straight party wall block work. It was just, you know, filling in between your windows, up to the top of your windows basically. So obviously a lot of reveals, a lot of freehand, a lot of plumbing. So obviously it wasn't obviously indicative of what you could lay, but I'm going to try on my next van lift, which I don't know what. Obviously it's going to be a couple of weeks before I get on a fresh plot. I think obviously it depends how quick they put the roofs on, but because they seem to be speeding up on this site now, so I expect myself doing a couple of top outs before I end up on another lift, or I might end up on a garage, because there's a garage to build, so I don't know whether I'll end up doing that, because I'm looking for another drop after I square these two up. Looking at what's left to do on this plot, I've not looked at the drawings, but from what I can tell, there's probably only, if this lad's in with us, I think we'll be done in 2 or 3 days easy. If he's not in, we're going to be done in 3 days. Probably if he's in 2.5 days. If he's not in, probably 3 days. So, and I'll have to work a bit harder. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I was going to work Saturday, but they didn't have any gobbo, so that's the thing. Also, you know, we only spent an hour and a half on this lift today, so, you know, I got that 7 course on. Got the feature bricks out of the way, so it's just up to height now, up to pan height on one gable, and I'm going to do the other gable. So I think there's a total of 12 course to pan, so I reckon I could do 2 gables in a day on my own easily. But obviously with I've obviously got a head start, so I reckon on Monday, rest of this gable, the other gable on Monday, and Tuesday back, obviously including block work and up to pan, and Wednesday front, and that's me done. That's me done for the week then. So should have pan on Wednesday, and then when I come back on Monday, should be on the other lift, on the creamy van lift, the creamy 4th lift I'll call it. But you know, we'll do that one. Then that'll be probably a 3-dayer, maybe less, at least a 3-dayer I would have thought. And then that is it. They're probably gonna be looking like a new drop there next week sometime. Whether they get a roof on pretty swiftly, and we get us. Well, we have to do the inspection on this, so we'll see. It's going to be a mixed week again, but I want to see another plotting. I want to get another lift at least. I might end up taking over a 3rd lift again, van lift, but we'll see. We'll see what's in the pipeline for next week. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's about it for this video. I'll put some music on, and got my takeaway coming soon, so I want to get that down me. It's been a hard week, it's been hot, it's just been a week, you know what I mean? It's been a good week, to be fair, for only 3.5 days of work. Lost a bit of time today with just moving drops and no gobbo. Oh yeah, that's another thing. This gobbo is like 2 days old as well. I didn't mention that before, but you'll probably see it in the title. This is my little stabilisers, my gable profiles. Probably won't use these for a long time other than for stabilisers. I like these as stabilisers instead of the wooden brackets, because you can move your stabiliser on that wood. It's so much easier to set a profile up using this. Obviously, when it comes to walling over the clamp, you've got to move the line over it and then fix brick it down. So lay a better brick on, fix brick it. You know, really good tools, the fix brick. You know, it's under. I don't really, you know, shout it out as much because you guys are seeing it. You guys know what it is now. But yeah, really great tool. I use it every day, more or less every day, or without fail. It's ideal for if you're building big racks, big corners. You know, you don't have to move your corner block up every course. You just, you know, use it as a tingle up and down your rack back. You know, block work, it's invaluable on. Has a lot of uses. I know Richard's come out with the new Fitz block. Charlie Collinson's been pimping it out. You probably won't ever see me using Blake's. I just don't think, for the amount of time you've got to spend setting them up, which I'm not prepared to do. You know, I find aluminium's easily good enough for what you need. I just find Blake's, they're heavy, they take a lot of carrying around. I don't have a van. I don't have the setup to use Blake's because you need everything for them, and I don't like to leave expensive profiles laying on the scaffold. You know, my aluminium box section, I found 2 of these in a cavity on another site, you know, quite a few months ago. I've got 4 light aluminiums, which I've had for fucking 5, 6, 7 years probably. They were my first set of profiles. They're all gauge taped up. They're all, you know, gauge tape on a set of thick aluminiums, nice weighty aluminium. Works fantastic. I think Blake's, they have their own place when you've got a big gang, and you know you need something that's pretty solid. You know, it's not going to move. But I think it's a lot of messing about for a 1 and 2. I find, you know, a couple of timber clamps on an aluminium more than adequate. Especially with this stabilizer, the profile basically doesn't move. You've got to keep checking them now and again because they can, but it's unlikely, and that's my view on Blake's. They're only useful for, you know, certain setups. Obviously, for a gang like myself, you know, I don't get there. I'm not a stickler for getting there really early. I don't put the hours in overtime with non-walling time. I just like to bang the aluminiums on, fucking string line through them. Might transition to a dory block at some point, but I just don't like a lot of time setting profiles up. There might be a time when I've got more time to set profiles up if I've got lads, you know, loading out or doing cuts or, you know, whatever, but I just don't have that time at the moment. I don't have the energy to get there early and set profiles up all the time. I've got a 2-year-old at home, an active 2-year-old, fucking keeps me up at night. Gotta get up, wakes me up early, screaming. I just haven't got the fucking energy. 7 days a week, 365. Me and our ass. No grandmother and granddad to have him. You know, every day we have him, every night, and we just don't have the energy. We don't get a break from parenting, so I don't have the energy to put into work like that at the moment. So it's one of them. Maybe when I get more energy, maybe when I get, you know, a bit more time on my hands, I might start getting there dead early. I might even invest in some Blake's in a later time, but it doesn't make sense for me right now. But I think Blake's are good. They just have the uses, and I think you've got to get used to using them. You've got to get used to the way of getting your head round the mentality of using Blake's. You've got to, a lot of the time, have, you know, be on the right work. Obviously these banders, they would play havoc with the Blake's. Obviously you'd have to, you know, keep tingling out, and I just find the box section that you could wall straight up to, it's just so much more useful for banding cuts. I've actually seen some Mustang profiles. A gang I know uses those. They look interesting because they do have special bits on them for banding courses. So that is something I might look into getting a Mustang set up profiles, and maybe, you know, I'll see. You have to have a certain setup with scaffolds. A lot of the time with the heights we're taking stuff to, it don't make sense with banders, and, you know, I'll see about Blake's in the future. I just need to get more, you know, in the flow state with housing, because I've been doing that many footings and garden walls for so long. I've just got used to banging a little corner up or sticking a couple of aluminiums on and getting it up, tailing out with a level, big level, boom, easy. But yeah, I'll see in future. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll put some music on, you'll see me bang a few more bricks in, and then I've got another bricklaying vlog probably at the weekend I'll make, with a bit more footage from the Creamy Van Lift. I didn't get any boat work footage, but I will do next time. So if you guys are enjoying, just give us a like, comment, leave us your thoughts on any topics I've talked about today, and have a good weekend. See you in the next one.